first today we will be discussing aerial photography. That is also a part of remote sensing, actually a precursor to remote sensing. So, what is aerial photography? Have you any idea about? You must have read it somewhere in your course also. Yes. What is aerial photography? Before that, what is photography? What is photography? Yes. Yes. What is photography? Yes. What is photography? Anyone? Anyone has any idea? What is photography? Yes, Wasim.
Yes, sir. Picturization, representation of
What
any object.
happens? What happens? What is the methodology? What happens in photography? What is photography? We will be discussing. We will be talking about photography, aerial photography. So before that, we should know what is aerial. What is photography itself? What is photography? Yes.
So photography is art of creating images.
Art of creating images, but a painter, an artist also creates images.
So digital format.
No, it's not
Sir, with the
necessarily
help
digital.
of photon or
What
light.
happens in taking photos? When you take a photo, what happens actually? Actually, remote sensing. Yes.
Sir, we get an idea about any pictures.
First, tell me. You can see the board
Already.
and you can see. You can read what is written there.
Yes,
Here
sir.
is a whiteboard. Yes. What is written is photography. What is photography? What is seeing actually? How we see things. पहले तो ये बात करें. What, how we see things. What is seeing? Yes. What we see. How we see. What is the process of seeing? What is process of how we see things? Yes. How we see things. Yes. How we see things. No idea.
Sir,
Yes. How we see an object. How we see something. Suppose it's a
through
building.
reflection or reflection of light.
Yes, reflection of light. Of sunlight. Suppose it is sun. Light is falling on this object. Yes. And it is reflected back at an angle. And here you are. It comes into your eye and it makes an image on your retina. Retina, you know.
Yes, sir.
In your eyes, there is you can say a screen which is called retina. The image is formed there. This object's image is formed there. Okay, right? That is the process of seeing. If instead of your eyes, here is a camera, then what will happen? Yes. If here is a camera, then suppose
We will
an
take
analog
it in-
camera.
In digital form.
Yeah. Suppose it is an analog camera. Then yes. What will happen? The-
Light will fall on the object and that light will be reflected.
Reflected
And
and it
captured
will
by our
it will
retina.
fall on it will also make an image like it was making an image in your eye. It will fall and make an image and it will make the image on film and film will permanently record it. Yes. that photographic film will permanently record it. In analog camera I am talking about. So there will be a permanent record of image, permanent image. That is called, it is called, what is it called? It is called photography. Yes? So that, am I clear? Yes.
Yes, sir.
That is photography, right? The process is same. In your eyes, it is not permanently recorded, but in camera or any sensor, we call them sensor in remote sensing. In any sensor which can sense the image, which can form the image, records the image. That is photography. Photography is permanent recording of image. Okay. The camera can be analog or
Digital.
digital. What is the difference between an analog camera or digital camera? Yes. Yes. Is there any difference in analog camera and digital camera? Yes. Is there any difference? Yes. Is there any difference?
तो डिजिटल कैमरा इमेज को कुछ फॉर्मेट में सेव करता है, एनालॉग
Yes,
कैमरा
it also
कोडिंग करता
saves,
है.
yeah, it also saves the image, but digitally. Yes, it's not on a film, it is saving digitally. You can afterward take a printout of that, but it saves it digitally. Okay. Doesn't matter camera is analog or digital. Okay. So what, that is the photography for you. It is not aerial photography. It is photography for you. Me. It is photography. Now what is aerial photography? Suppose something is written on this board and I am taking the picture. From where I will take the picture? From this angle. Okay. We have a camera ready in our mobiles. So I will take the picture. Okay. That is the photography. Okay. Now, that is photography. Almost horizontal angle. We take pictures from horizontal angle. If suppose my house is, and I go from a high point, suppose I go from 10 meters above that board and I take the picture, what will be the difference between taking picture like this and taking picture like this? Is there any difference? कोई difference है?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is there any difference? Yes.
Sir, when photograph is taken from vertical and
Yes.
in vertical format, there would be no height dimension. Actually, from horizon, we are taking
What is the
photo from-
basic difference in that picture? Which I was taking from this level, and the picture I am taking from above the ground,
vertical.
above the object.
Sir, if the photo is taken from above the object, we'll get a synoptic view of that object.
Yes, the view, the angle will be different. The angle will be different. The angle of taking picture will be different. And any advantage? Okay, we will talk about advantages later. So, the main difference between photography and aerial photography is of angle. From which angle we are taking? Angle. In normal photography, it is mostly horizontal, and in aerial photography, it is from air and it is above the ground. It is not necessary that it should be vertical, right?
Yes, sir.
ये vertical होना जरूरी है. Yes.
No, sir.
No. So angle is different. It's not horizontal. The angle is not horizontal in most of the cases. So that is the difference between photography and aerial photography, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
If any query, if anything is not clear to you, please don't be afraid to ask. Your questions are welcome. Please ask. Okay. If the point is not clear, yes, Shafiq. You're saying something? Yes, Shafiq. Okay. So the main difference between the photography, normal photography and aerial photography is of angle. From which the photograph is being taken. Now you must have heard two terms in aerial photography. There are two terms heard mostly. That is aerial photography and photogrammetry. What is? You can see the board. Okay, you can read what is written on the board. If you cannot read, I will adjust the angle. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes.
what is the difference between aerial photography and photogrammetry? Is there any
The
difference?
photogrammetry is technique of taking information from an aerial photograph.
So we are taking information from in aerial photography also. What is the basic difference? You are right. You are not wrong, Wasim. I am not saying that you are wrong. Yes, but
Sir, photogrammetry is a science which takes the measurements of the photography, because
yes,
when the photograph
measurement.
is taken, there is
Measurement.
the
Yes,
photograph is taken,
Yes.
there is a lot of distortion and the
Yes.
scale is not fixed. That is why
Yes.
the measurement has been taken.
yes,
to,
yes, Aslam. You are right. You are very right. In photography, we only take photographs. That is the act of taking photographs, and photogrammetry is the science in which we measure distances on that photograph, collect information about that photograph, and in other words, what we are doing, is there any word for that? We are plotting distances and plotting relative location of places and objects. Yes. Is there any difference? Yes. Is there any difference? Is there any what is there any other word for that activity? Yes. Anyone? Yes, Fareen. Do you hear me? Fareen, आपको मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है? Yes. हेलो. Yes, Fareen, आपको मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है? What it is called? Plotting relative location of places and objects and having real distance between them. What is this?
And sight and situation.
Is there any other name for that?
Sir, sight and situation actually.
Yeah, that is side of situation, but I am asking about the process. What it is called? Is it called by any other name? Yes. Yes. Anyone? Muddin.
Maybe surveying. Sir.
Yes, it is surveying, and any other word? You're coming near. Yes, Shamim. What it is called? Yes, Wasim, what it is called? It is called it is called mapping. Simply it is called mapping. Photogrammetry is about mapping, and photography is taking pictures, taking photographs by some sensor, right? I think we're clear about this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So, do you know something about the history of aerial photography? A brief history. Today it is done by mainly remote sensing satellites, but it was done by
I can remember the first aerial photography was taken by using a pigeon. A lens was, fixed on the leg of a pigeon, and
depends on the where you place your camera or sensor. So by pigeon, or you can call it birds. You tie your camera sensor on the bird and let train it and let it fly, and you program the camera in automatic mode to take pictures at regular intervals, right?
yes, sir.
So on the bird the camera is tied, birds, and it is programmed, it is set to automatically take pictures at regular intervals. So it will give you photographs when the bird lands. Birds and
Sir, later one, the tall tower was used for.
yes, a tower was used.
A lens were fixed
And
on the
yes,
tall.
tower was used. Yes, a tower was used. The camera was stationed there. A sensor was stationed there, and yes, and
Yes, sir, balloons or parachutes.
balloons, regular
So
balloons.
balloons and kites.
Yes,
Kites also, sir.
kites. Yes, kites were also used for taking photographs. That was an aerial photography. Yes, and yes, Shafiq. Anything else?
So,
The later one, then aeroplane, then satellite.
Yes, aeroplane. Aeroplanes were used. Yes, and
And recently satellite.
recently satellites are. You forgot one thing. Helicopters.
Yes, sir.
Helicopters were used. Yes, and between that, before the aeroplane, a sort of rocket, tower rocket was used. It was launched in the air, and it goes to certain level and takes pictures, and it lands again. A rocket tower was used. So it was very many things: birds, tower, balloons, kites, rocket towers, aeroplane, helicopter, a tall building, a very tall building. Balloons were simple balloons and hot air balloons also. Hot air balloons. And now these days, what you told me, remote sensing satellite and remote sensing satellites, and one very important mean of taking pictures, taking aerial photographs these days you forgot. Yes, one very important vehicle you are forgetting. That is very important these days. It is being used extensively and it's very easy. Yes. Anything? Yes. Yes. Anything?
Drone camera.
Yes. You forgetting? Yes. Anything? Have you heard of drones?
Yes, sir, I have already said, sir.
Drones. We are using drones for aerial photographs. What are drones? At a sort of yes, Fareen. You were saying something. Yes.
So it is a aircraft system.
Aircraft system, of course. Aircraft, aeroplane, yes. Aircrafts also, yes. Military aircrafts and other aircrafts. Drones are unmanned vehicle, unmanned airborne vehicles, which can be controlled from the ground, and they are very useful because you can control, you can tilt them, you can focus objects, you can go very near to the object, you can guide your drone to. These days they are used extensively. They are used in surveillance. They are used in 15th August, Independence Day. They use extensively. They are very easy to use. They are becoming cost effective and
Yes, sir. Low cost.
economical.
Sir.
Yes, Aslam?
Yes, sir. It is cheap and time consuming.
Cheap and
less time
yes,
consuming.
yes. Okay, actually it is cheap. The starting cost is a little higher up,
Yes.
especially for taking aerial photographs. Cheap drones are available around 15,000, but if a good drone you are buying, it is minimum 3 lakhs around. Okay. So there are many advantages of aerial photography. What are the advantages of aerial photography vis-a-vis normal photography? Yes. Any first advantage is a vintage point. The aerial photography give you a vintage point from where you can take pictures. An advantageous point. You can get the bird's eye view. In normal photography, you can only see a perspective. You can change the perspective in aerial photographs. So you get a vantage point. You can see a canopy. You can see a bird's eye view. You know a bird's eye view. It gives
Yes,
you.
sir. I think it's like synoptic view, right?
Yeah. You get a synoptic view. You get a bigger view, a big picture. You can get a relative positioning of different sectors. So that the aerial photography gives you a vantage point. And another advantage of aerial photography is its time freezing ability. It has a time freezing ability. What is that? Can you guess the meaning of?
Sir, everything is dynamic. So,
Yes.
The aerial photography is taken in different times, so the temporal analysis
Yeah,
of
it
that
can.
particular place or object.
You can compare the aerial photographs taken at different times. Suppose you are photographing a city, a town, and one photograph you had taken in 1900, one photograph you can take you have taken in 1920, one photograph you have taken in 1950, one photograph taken 1970, and one photograph in 2000, and one photograph of present day 2021. And you can compare the city boundaries. You can hear me and you can see me.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose in 1900 city was like this. In 1920 it grown to these boundaries. In 1950 it has become this big. In 1970 the city was like this. In 2000 city has become bigger, and 2021 in the present time, so you can see the growth of city, or it is the expansion. Suppose land use and landform is changed, so you can see the changing landform or changing land use. There are two terms very frequently used in land use and land in remote sensing: land use and land cover. What are they? Yes,
I think spatiotemporal analysis.
it is a spatio-temporal analysis, but what is the difference between land use and land cover?
Sir, land cover are I think natural, and land use are made by man.
No.
So land use is how the pupil use the land for
Yes.
the socio-economic activities.
Yes. Type of activity.
And
Yes.
land cover refers to the surface cover.
What we see,
Like vegetation
land
also.
cover is what we see on the land. From aerial photograph, our vantage point, what we see on the land: buildings, grassland, fields, and land
Yes.
use is agriculture, residential, industrial, recreational. Are you getting me? The land
sir.
use is the type: recreational, agricultural, residential, open space, and land cover is what we see: buildings, fields, agricultural fields. Okay, so there's a slight difference in land use and land cover. Mainly they are used interchangeably. Okay, so another advantage of aerial photographs is it gives us broadens it gives us broadens we will have to wait for a little bit. It gives us broadened sensitivity. It shows us the features which we cannot see by simple photographs. It gives us broadened sensitivity. You getting me? It gives us more information than real photographs. It gives us broadened. Can you give any example of broadened sensitivity? Yes.
But I think the physical characteristics, I mean biophysical characteristic of that particular object.
Yes,
because,
biophysical and
because-
physical characteristics it can give us.
Because the moisture
Real
and
photograph
temperature
cannot give
content of
us
different-
that. Yes.
The moisture and temperature content of different objects is, recorded by the sensor.
Yes, you can infer turbidity of water, how deep the water is, how turbid the water is, at what stage the crop is, at what stage of ripening the crop is, what is the thermal signature, what is the temperature of that area, heat island effect. It gives us broadened sensitivity. Many types of broadened sensitivity. It gives us broadened sensitivity. It gives us what aerial photographs gives us broadened sensitivity. So what are the benefits? It gives aerial photographs vis-a-vis real photographs gives us vantage points. It has time freezing ability. You can compare the photographs of same place at different points of time. It gives us broadened sensitivity. Broadened sensitivity means more information about the object we are photographing. Broadened information, more information by showing the attributes. And one other very important advantage is it can give us three-dimensional view. So these are the main advantages of the aerial photographs